When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's coverage of the second round of the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series. This evening we're excited to bring you coverage of all the action from iRacing's virtual Milwaukee Mile in Wisconsin. Tonight's coverage once again will feature both races that occur simultaneously using our picture-in-picture format thanks to the talented team behind the scenes at Maconi Entertainment. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you action from all types of racing, with the weekly Maconi Fix Series. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name's Justin Prince, alongside the booth for tonight's coverage. Braden Laster, Ron Mons, Christian Hill, and DJ Lyon will be working the controls as their producers tonight for this evening's racing here from the Milwaukee Mile. Before we get into things, we'd like to remind you tonight's action is brought to you in part by iRacing. Relied on as a training tool by countless professional drivers, iRacing is unrivaled as a racing simulator because its creators have managed to capture every last car and track detail and recreate them in a package that perfectly encapsulates the feeling of being behind the wheel of a race car and pushing its mechanical limits on courses tested and testing driver skill sets. And the industry agrees. Visit iRacing.com to sign up and become a member today. Tonight's also brought to you by Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Entertainment. Once again, the official setup shop of eNASCAR, the home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and more in the iRacing service. Start things off with you, Braden. So far, we've seen some intense racing at a variety of different racetracks, and tonight, we look to see what happens here at the Milwaukee Mile. It's been a return a couple of years now, but we're getting the thick of things for this schedule so far.
Definitely in the thick of things for sure. You got about 15 drivers all within 15 points of being within the cut line. The top 20 is your cut line for reference. The top 10 though in points. Michael Phillip, strong advantage for him. No drop week either for these drivers after some issues with backup Pocono race number 2. So they don't have any bad finishes that you can just expect to go away. We saw things last night in the Maconi Fix Series is that Milwaukee is going to be an exciting race to watch. Little bumper action, little chrome horn action, and when they're fighting for points in such a short series, anything can happen.
And Ron, with this race tonight, we're at the Milwaukee Mile. As mentioned, a lot of these drivers, in many situations, going to be needing points. And you can say when it comes to needing points, Blake McCandless on the bubble coming into tonight. It's very tight. Up on that bubble, the spreadsheet has Christopher Hill just a point back. You have Andrew Navarro, Michael Venable, and more. It needs to be a good performance for many if they want to be able to move on. Right now, the cut line, 69 points by McCandless.
Oh, it is absolutely intense for that cutoff position. It's really no points at all, literally and figuratively separating the two drivers right towards the end of that top 20. And coming into a track like this, it is going to be very threatening for these drivers. Pretty much no banking around this Milwaukee Mile circuit. While the oldest racing circuit's still operational in the world as well, I think a whole lot of drivers are going to be feeling an extra amount of pressure when it comes for the races tonight.
Absolutely, and as mentioned, we are getting into the thick of things for this championship because so far we had a grand total of 3 races per team with the starts, 4 including Pocono. You have Rockingham and Homestead right in this schedule. Still a cheese grater for tires, but also a cheese grater for skill sets over the next month or so.
Yeah, Watkins definitely shook the points up. Eddie Kerner and Brian McCurry were able to find wins there. And we mentioned the issue at Pocono. That race was canceled, also taken away from the drop week. IRP, short track, Chicago, and a big track. And, Rockingham is a big short track. Anything can happen. And it's not a very common track either on the iRacing platform. It's not a track these drivers are used to. Same with the Milwaukee Mile. So the drivers are going to be tested in these unusual atmospheres here.
Extremely tested, to say the very least. And you touched a bit upon the racetrack already tonight. How do you think these trucks will race here, Ron, at the Milwaukee Mile to be able to compete here, and better yet, to settle themselves in?
Well, honestly, JP, I think the racing is going to be very, very intense. I mentioned it a little bit a few moments ago. This track is flat. It is the oldest operating motorsports facility still in the globe. Opened all the way back in 1903 with the last major modifications / renovations coming all the way back in 2004. This track is flat as a pancake, and it's going to create a little bit of a threatening atmosphere for these drivers. Mistakes may be aplenty, especially coming down pit lane with an odd pit entry. I think this race is going to be one that features quite a lot of mistakes from some of these drivers. They're going to try and keep that to a minimum. I remember the last time that I was part of one of these broadcasts was at IRP a few weeks ago, and let me say that split one race was quite chaotic to say the very least, and I feel here at the Milwaukee Mile, another flat track, albeit one a bit bigger, a bit more open, and a bit quicker. I think the mistakes may rack up. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, if I can add in here, thanks for swinging it over to me. This track, you mentioned it being such a flat track. It looks like a horse track, and the reason it looks like a horse track is because it is. It is actually just outside the Wisconsin State Fair Park in West Allis, Wisconsin, and it was originally a horse track that opened up in the 1870s by a private owner. It became the site of the state fair, so they built the state fair around the track, not the track around the fair. So a little backwards there, and they ran horses on it for a couple decades, and then 1903 opened up as a dirt track. That first race was a 5-lap race, the average speed of that race being 50 miles an hour, which for 1903 was actually pretty quick.
And tonight, we'll see the drivers flying around 29-second lap times, averaging speeds as high as 150 miles an hour entering the corners. A lot more different compared to the olden days, if you will, in terms of pace. So, with that being said, we still have a couple of minutes to go in qualifying for these races here tonight. Braden, we've talked about the points, we've talked about the situations for some of the drivers. Now talking about things, what are you looking forward to the most here in terms of the storylines tonight?
You want to be able to start up front. This track passing is very difficult here, and that's because of its unique character. They've repaved it on the bottom, and most of the track is not, I don't think it's the exact repave when the original pave when they paved it back in 1954, but it's pretty close, I'll tell you that. It's a very abrasive track. It's not a very grippy track. It will eat up your tires. You can run the bottom. Some drivers like to kind of run maybe the middle, lower grooves, and you'll see it when we get racing here, that bottom groove. People like to sit there and hug that L line, and so it's hard to pass, so you got to use the front bumper. And when you get 30 or so of iRacing's finest short track, big track, and NASCAR truck drivers here, they love to use the chrome horns, and that's exactly what I think we're going to see tonight.
And we'll see if that ends up being the case. What are you watching for the most tonight, Ron, based on what we've seen so far in this series and knowing what happened at IRP last time?
Well, I think Brain really touched on it. I am expecting, well, usually be called the chrome horn here in the NASCAR Truck Series. I would say it's probably more the stainless steel sheet horn, to try and butcher that use of phraseology. But I think overall we are going to see some drivers get a little bit more aggressive than they have been. Of course, the end of the season being near, these drivers are going to be really, really racy. They're also going to be quite aggressive with each other. That points battle for that top 20 position, that is huge. The fact that's literally no points separating 19th and 20th. These drivers are going to feel extra racy coming towards the end of the season. They're going to look for any single opportunity that they can possibly grab within their hands, and I think as a result of that, these drivers are going to be quite aggressive tonight, JP.
That being said, qualifying is starting to come to a close for the sessions now. So we'll see in a couple moments what our starting grids look like here tonight. Again, seen 30-plus drivers per split taking part in these races. We'll see if they can handle 100 laps at the Milwaukee Mile. Here's a look at our first grouping of drivers. Ashton Crowder sets the pole tonight by near a tenth of a second over Brendan Hawk. Then Eddie Carter and Connor Euroshak inside the top four. Brad Wright, Logan Clampett inside the first page as well. Christian Hill and Robbie Raybill Jr. start in 8th. Then Michael Venable and Blaze Crawford rounds out your top 10 tonight here in this one, Braden.
Yeah, Joe Armstrong comes into the night qualifying 11th. He's 58th in or 56th in points, so he needs a great starting spot and a great finish. And Mitchell Hunt to his outside there in 12th, rolling down the field here. Will Cooley in a cool starting spot, number 13 or 13th. Colton Harvey there in 14th. Cameron Champagne 15th. Matthew Batby there in 16th. Nate Stewart, another driver looking for a great run tonight, 17th. Dalton Milam in 18th. And then getting ready to knock out your top 20, Max Brady, and then Sandra Nyhoff running your top 20, Ron.
And then looking outside the top 20, it's going to be Matt Kosher in 21st, Brendan Kohler in 22nd, Rocky Boyd in starting number position 23. Matt McGinley going to be starting this race in 24th in the Chevrolet. And looking through to the next page, we have Daniel Nanny in 25th, David Brown in 26th, David Schildhouse in 27th, Nick Olson in 28th, Nicholas Morse in 29th, and JT Pulga round out the top 30.
Your last starter tonight could have a hard way to come for the back. Blake McCandless off by just 0.4 of a second to be in 31st spot. That's going to be a very disappointing time. Let's take a look at your other grouping of drivers. Brian Mercurio starts the pole over there. He set a pole time just a couple 1,000ths off that of the air split. Christopher Pfeffer, Jackson Crowder, and Quinton Warman in the top four. Justin Smith, Michael Frisch starts off in 6th tonight in that group. Agnell Phillip in 7th, your points leader. Then Alexander Russell, Ethan Lane, and you have Dalton England in the 10th spot, Braden.
And Matthew Morton there just outside the top 10 starting spot in the 11th. Michael Bumgarner in 12th. James Winslow in 13th. Johnny Avila in 14th. Carson Bowers there in 15th. River Hayes is outside in 16th. Cade McClinney in 17th. Jack Coyne in 18th. Matt Danson in 19th. Tanner Love, loving the action here tonight in 20th. Jack Mays 21st. Channing Value in 22nd. Garrison Hogan 23rd. Trevor Huff 24th. Ashton Slice 25th. Caden Rush 26th. Raina Rush, Dylan Jones 27th. Santiago Gutierrez 28th. Ryan Andrew and Nick Miller rounding out your field. Get ready to go racing here from Milwaukee.
So just about ready to go in both the splits now for tonight's action. Here's a look at our first grouping. We're happy to have you with us here on iRacing social media platforms, Maconi Entertainment, eNASCAR Qualifying iRacing Series coverage from the Milwaukee Mile. Split 2 goes green. They're underway for the Milwaukee Mile. We are just about set to go green as well in Split 1. Side-by-side racing in Split 2. Side-by-side racing starts in Split 1.
Brian McCurry here in Split 2, able to get in the lead over Christopher Pfeffer and cleared by 2 or 3 truck nicks already. Still side-by-side though in Split 1, going through 1 and 2 for the first time. Both splits make it clean and green for the most part.
100 laps up on the board for tonight's race analysis, by the way. Expecting it to be at least a one-stopper on the gas. And these drivers try and get a rhythm. Here's a look at your details. Remember, open setups in this series. We'll see how they race it out here tonight at the Milwaukee Mile. Your first lap in the other group in Brandon Hawk. And we have a caution in Split 1. Chad McGinley. Rex on the front straightaway. Der ping pong effect off of Matt Cucker and more. And we're under caution already in one of the groups.
That's split number 1, quick yellow out for them. And looking at the race analysis, only 2 sets of tires in the pit. You mentioned how much this track loves to eat tires, so you're gonna have to be conservative. Maybe you'll come down to halfway when you get fuel, or save a set for the end, or just hope you go green. Split 2 typically, it's not the same drivers every single time, but has a history of going clean and green.
Again, Chad McGinley, truck 29 in this field, went around on the front straightaway after getting into a few different trucks. It's not the only one damaged too. Also picking up damage was Daniel Nanny for our first caution flag. Meanwhile, in the lower third, you can see just how the racing's starting to settle out. It's a rhythmistic racetrack, by the way, around here. By the way, Chad McGinley 52nd in points coming into tonight. Not going to help his cause with a crash already.
Yeah, going passing here to Ron real quick, and you see how aggressive drivers were, and do you think that's going to be the case all night long?
Ooh, for split 1, I think it definitely will. Big points on the table. These drivers seeing the end of the season near, I think they're going to get even more aggressive across both splits for that matter. Honestly, tuning in for the IRP race a couple weeks ago here on Maconi Entertainment, which was fantastically entertaining, mind you, seeing that split 2 race go clean pretty much from lights to flag was really, really impressive. And here we're seeing that clean nature continue in split 2. However, part of me, there's a small little sneaking suspicion in the back of my mind that I feel like IRP, the drivers may have been a teeny tiny bit lucky, and we may see some more fisticuffs break out here at the Milwaukee Mile. And it's a very different track because IRP, you had multiple lines to try and use. Milwaukee, meanwhile, you can use different lines. However, a lot of people will try and stick to that middle line, as we're seeing in split 2 with 95 laps to go.
Still a lot of time to think about things on the racetrack. So we'll see how this all fares out. Here's a look now at our grouping. Tanner Love currently in the midfield. And you can tell just how different some of these drivers have to handle it. You almost have to launch it into these corners to be able to make it stick, Braden.
That Tanner Love needing some points. Desperately came in tonight 61st in points, about 36 behind the cut line. Currently in that heated battle just inside the top 10. Jack Coyne in front of him, Jack Mace behind him, and Jack Sandwich. And I'm sure he'd love to be up through the standing order right now.
Lights out or in the other grouping, by the way, as they've only had everyone stay on the lead lap, no one lap down, so no extra pace lap there. But Brian Mercurio controlling things in that second split. You see how things are starting to grow up at the front and how things are playing out here as we get ready for a restart in the other box.
First split getting ready to rock and roll for the second time here tonight. Split 2 keeping it green, and already split 2 with a 7 lap or so, not quite 7 lap, about a 4 or 5 lap advantage. And pace car, it's a light restart zone here in Milwaukee for these guys.
Brennan Hawk in control on side of Ashton Crowder. Green flag is out, back underway. And a clean run to the restart zone at the front, not so much in the back. One driver nearly sent to the wall. That was Mitchell Hunt, nearly right across the nose of Max Brady's truck.
That restarts are crucial here. You want to make up a ton of time, but you don't want to lose it either. 2, 3, 4 wide in the back. Drivers in the wall, drivers through the grass, and already another quick caution here in split number 1.
That was one of the Express Esports entries. Colton Harvey getting turned around. Truck 28 in your field tonight. They were offset 4 wide around Harvey for the caution.
I think he might have even got a bit of airtime. We'll get a replay here in a moment, but no fast compares either for these drivers, so any major damage, you're going to have to sit there and take your time and wait it out in pit lane. And I mean, one thing you don't want to go down is multiple laps here at a short track. I mean, not quite a short track, but short track IndyCar race. See a replay here.
And Brain, I think you're right. I think he may have gotten a little bit of airtime. He absolutely wrecked that truck on the outside wall, and you're going to take a look at the angle. 4 wide heading through turns number 1 and 2. A whole bunch of bouncing with the 4 truck involved, and the 34, the hip check given to the 23, was a one that sent him into the wall and up into the air as well. A wild ride for that driver. That is going to be a game changer for them. JP.
David Childhouse, sorry to interrupt, I saw Childhouse slide by there by a couple inches, so he's trying to keep his Contender Series hopes alive. And you know, that's one thing about Reds here, they happen so quick.
Very quick indeed. Looking at the air grouping, by the way, see how everyone's staying in a flow and staying in a rhythm. Much different flow so far. They're already about 11, 12 laps through, in fact. So far, not even through to lap 8 in the air grouping of drivers. So why is that the difference, you think, here, Braden, in terms of one field seems to be calm, cool, and collected, the other racing aggressive?
Well, it's almost like we have a pattern. I think it's just luck of the draw, but you look back at Chicago, then split 1 had 5 cautions, split 2 had 2 cautions, and then our previous race with cautions, Washington no cautions, but IRP race number 3, split 1 had 11 cautions, split 2 went green flag to flag. And you mentioned it's pretty much the same, not quite the same grouping. I mean, it interchanges the way that iRacing does the snake format, so I just don't know if it's, cautions, free cautions, and then, once you go downhill a little bit, I mean, just rolling downhill at that point.
And right now, so far, the North Force entry is looking strong. Michael Frisch still staying strong up front, just in front of Agno Philp right now. He and Philp, should say, have really gone back and forth in some of these races this season. Michael, of course, a very big fan favorite from the streaming community, to say the very least, over the years, but also he is just that fast normally, still in the 6th position.
Yeah, a lot of drivers having some great runs early on, and see Michael P. Frisch there having a pretty decent pace going for this race. He's got Justin R. Smith there in front of him and Jackson Crowder as well. So Crowder came in tonight as the number 22 truck, the highest running double-digit truck. These drivers are ranked, their truck numbers at least in the sim. It might not be what their truck actually shows, but at least they're ranked in the simulator here based on their I rating, or basically how their results go as split 1 is in 1 to go mode.
Right now, taking a look at some of the others up front. Warman, he continues to be on the good war path here tonight. Good speeds being showcased for the Ryko truck so far tonight. He has been very good when it comes to these styles of races. We talked about this in the last race. He was flying through the field. Amongst those at Watkins Glen, who had a qualifying issue, we've seen some of the drivers with Ryko last time. This time, a little bit quicker in terms of the speed for qualifying. Better yet, able to keep the speed up front, trying to pressurize Pfeffer.
They got Mercurial almost a second advantage to split 1, getting ready to go back green flag race to see if anyone was able to get as big of a lead there. But split number 2 here, coming to 19 laps completed this time by, so already a fifth of the way through almost.
Back to racing, Eddie Carter with a huge block on Ashton Crowder. Brad Wright tries to take it high side. They start very aggressive again. 3 wide again. Connor Euroshak, Blaze Crawford, and Christopher Hill, should say, getting shuffled back again this start as they are getting the elbows out.
Already having one of the longest runs of the night for split 1. I can laugh because it was kind of funny, but drivers definitely eager to make their way up through the field. You see them 3 wide here, still in the back of the pack, trying to sort themselves out, and they better get sorted out. We're going to be patient a couple more laps.
Oh, and there we go. We will be. Caution flag is out. Hard contact to the wall again. And we're under yellow as Mitchell Hunt gets himself turned around to the 18. One of the Nexus Esports trucks.
Hunt came in, get this, 1 point above the cut line. So he's missing a front bumper and will be missing out on some points for sure tonight. That's one of the hardest hits we've seen here in Milwaukee. So Mitchell Hunt tonight is, I don't want to say it's over, but at least in terms of competitiveness, he will not be winning that race.
Meatball flag as well, so blown motor from the contact. Mitchell Hunt in very tough situations now. 23 total incidents coming into tonight according to the road course. This time just off the very tippy tip of Nick Olson.
They were eager to get going, and a little too eager it seems. Gets right hook, has the 98 machine already on the outside as well. And I mean, at that point, when you have 2 trucks that are ping pong off of, you don't really have any time to slow down. So hard impact there for him.
Extremely hard hit. And that's going to see us back to the other split again. We've seen a lot of this split here tonight, and still keep an eye on some of those looking to try and settle on in here mid-pack. And right now, Mercurial still controlling this split. No change there, but so far, we've seen drivers like Carson Bowers set the purple lap times in the heart of the field.
Yeah, Bowers actually pretty quick right now in that 42 machine. He's still side by side. He's got Johnny Avila to his outside. Avila able to get clear. That's about it for 14th. But I mean, points are huge here.
And that is definitely...
Oh,
sorry to step on your toes there, JP. I was just going to say that the points are definitely in the back of these drivers' minds. I say the back of their minds. I think it's in front of their minds, really. They're thinking about it with every single move they pull off on this racetrack. That's definitely going to be a big part of how they attack this race.
So Vio Alonso's able to make the passes right there. Still 77 laps to go in this race. Lights out again in split one, but Brian Mercurio lights out speed so far. Braden, he is near untouchable again today.
Got second and over a half advantage for him to Christopher Pfeffer there in second. 2-second advantage to Quentin Warman in third. That's battle for third, heating up side by side actually. Jackson Crowder and Quentin Warman. Warman hangs on for now, but Jackson Crowder is a hungry hippo, and he's ready to eat up Quentin Warman.
Jackson Crowder 10th of the points coming into today, but yet to get a top 5. Looking to change that as he continues up the battle with the Warman. Quentin Warman, 71 points, by the way. So far, top 5 on the season. 31 laps led. And right now seems to be in good position for a top 5 to start. Speaking of starts, we go to 1. Brandon Hawk keeps it up. Eddie Kerner starting alongside this time. No block. Not able to swoop down in front of Crowder until the middle of the corner this time as they stay 2x2 up front.
Connor Darrowshack here inside the top 10 as well. Your winner back in race number 1, Chicagoland, trying to pick up some points as well. And they're going to get single file in the top 3, but everyone else back there at the pack is side by side.
Yeah, Brad Wright right now stuck up topside. You normally don't want to be stuck up there, Ron, especially with the momentum up there. We've seen it where you stay up topside, you just go backwards by turn 3.
Yeah, it's also that and the fact that considering the incidents that we've seen so far in just 17 laps in the split 1 race, usually the driver that ends up getting turned against the wall is a driver running on the top line. So I think definitely where you want to be is that bottom. So right now, Brad Wright getting hung out to dry running on that top side. He is trying desperately to merge into that traffic right below him, but he just can't get the opportunity.
Speaking of looking for an opportunity, Jackson Crowder in that second split side by side in the bottom of the screen. That's the battle for third. Warming up by the wall, into the wall. A little bit of contact between the two going into turn 1 as Pfeffer and Mercury are going to pull away. Jackson Crowder still side by side, and you see Justin Smith, Michael P. Frisch, Agnell Phillip, all there ready to get around these guys if they can.
Okay, let's go double box. Why not triple box? Caution. Another yellow in split 1, and it's Mitchell Hunt again. Hunt going around, and this time, no one was around him.
Yeah, it's very easy to lose control of your truck and already have damage here. This is a very mechanical, grip-reliant track. I'm sure that truck not handling nowhere near as good as it should be, and Hunt is trying to stay in the running order as much as he can. And, well, ironically enough, this caution will help him a little bit, able to get some more of that damage fixed, as battle for third still heating up in split 2. Crowder going to get a bump in that red 22 truck. He's got Quentin Warman right behind him in the red and black 84. Still side by side, and now Justin R. Smith, Frisch, and Agnell Phillip have all caught these guys and waiting for one to make a mistake, maybe get 2, 3, or even 4 birds with 1 stone.
Trying to go for that 2-for-1 deal, Brain. That's what they're trying to do. And at a track like this, where overtaking opportunities are pretty much at bare minimum at times, you really want to try and seize those opportunities. As we take a look at a replay of the incident that brought the yellow out in split 1, you can see that Hoopty-Rod hang through turn number 3 and 4, just losing it all by his lonesome. This track is tricky enough, let alone with a damaged car. And JP, that's exactly what brought out that yellow yet again in split 1.
Let's go back to the air grouping again, looking at Bowers and company. He has not given it up with Avila. And Avila, very, very strong when it comes to the setup side, but also when it comes to the speed side, driving his truck. Seems to be having to play a lot of defense here, almost some pushing and shoving in the backdrop.
Yeah, that's Cade McClenny right there, eager to get these guys moving throughout the way. And got Carson Bowers looking inside of Avila, might be able to make something happen here. Avila goes wide. Here comes McClenny through the middle. They're going to be staggered free for a split second, and there goes Bowers on the bottom. And Avila using that high side in the 63, able to get the momentum down the straightaway.
California short track racer trying to push the issue as Avila way up out of the groove. Normally don't see anyone up on that line 3 wide normally, but able to make it stick. Actually, he just about cleared both those trucks trying to run the wall in 1 and 2.
I think Johnny Avila's found something here, boys and girls. He thinks he's still got the dirt, and that's where the cushion is up there. He's getting a huge run down the straightaways. We're going to see it again. McClenny actually makes a move on Bowers. And something has happened to Carson Bowers. Bowers down pit lane here.
That is an interesting situation, an interesting call here. Is he trying to go for the undercut, or is this going to be a 2-stop? This is looking like it's scheduled, Ron.
Ooh, this is a very interesting call from him to come down pit lane so early on into this race, especially under green flag conditions in this Split 2 race, which usually runs quite a bit less caution-festy as Split 1 does. This is going to send him a lap down, and he is going to be in a position that he was not expecting. That is a very smart call. We'll just have to wait and see if it works out for him. And another driver come down pit lane. You can see that's Jack Mace stopped down in the pits in the 8 truck, currently running 28th in the Split 2 race. So an interesting call to come down pit lane for a lot of these drivers. The real question is, Brain, do you think it's actually going to work out well for him or not?
If this goes green, the 2-stopper, we've talked about it multiple races, Chicagoland, IRP, there's no real clear strategy until we see who's taking the checkered flag. You just can't get penalties. So far, no penalties there. Ryan Andrew also down pit lane in the 88 machine. So these drivers all coming out 1 lap down and in line with the top 20. So they're about 9 seconds behind their leader. But I think Carson Bowers has just opened up a whole can of worms. Actually, Bowers just inside the top 10 on track, 1 lap down. So he's pretty close to getting the lap back, and he's about a second quicker than anyone else on track right now.
Starting lap 23, meanwhile in Split 1, and Eddie Carter just had his worst restart of the race. He's already being zipped to the inside by Crowder. Blaze Crawford also losing ground as a result of that start. They shuffle into the corner, 3 wide in the backdrop again.
And River Hayes also joining that group of drivers pitting there in split number 2. And meanwhile, split number 1 looks like they're all trying to come down pit road under a caution, though still 2 or 3, even a little bit staggered 4 wide. Some drivers getting loose in that drive off. That's a key characteristic here of Milwaukee. Everyone able to keep it clean and green for the most part.
And right now you see that mid-pack really shaping aggressive. That includes Kevin Champagne having to squeeze Joe Armstrong. Once those shuffling back there, also on the bottom, Will Cooley in one of the lockdown racing machines.
Agnell Phillip, I believe, actually just came down pit road as well. So green flag pit stops. A lot of drivers are electing to go with the 3 or the 2-stopper. Meanwhile, Carson Bowers is absolutely flying. I mean, he is over a second quicker than your leader, Brian Mercurio, and he's actually just right behind him on the track. So he should be able to go up here and get his lap back if he wants it.
Taking a look as right now they try and sort out the lines. We have Blaze Crawford still trying to fight with Brad Wright. Crawford, one of the main setup builders over for his team at the North Force. Won a couple of the truck championships through the ladder. He's also won some throwers this season. There's a look at his viewpoint.
Looks like you got the triple monitor set up. It's always a debate. Triple monitor is one big monitor or VR. Looks like the triple monitor set for Blaze Crawford. It's working out pretty good. Currently in that 5th spot, up 5 spots since the start. Definitely this race proving to be a race of perseverance. And Blaze definitely one of the drivers that know how to get to the checkered flag.
You can see that man pulling at the wheel, heading through the corners. He is sawing at it for sure. Even 27 laps into the split one race, which has been interrupted quite a lot by yellows. Those tires are starting to feel the burn. They're feeling the pain for sure. And I think if we could just look at his onboard shot, his in real life shot of him behind the wheel, you can see that wheel moving a little bit through the corners. He is trying to wheel that thing around. I'm sure the drivers in the split 2 race, though, they are dealing with some even more ill-handling race cars than these drivers in split 1, which could be the reason why they decide to come down pit lane earlier. JP, you mentioned earlier on in this broadcast about how the tires driving around this track, it's like someone took a cheese grater to them, and really at this track, no truer statement can be made in reference to how badly the tires get worn. So I think all these drivers in both splits are really starting to struggle with the way their cars are driving, JP.
Remember, we're coming up already towards that point. We've seen a lot of the pit stops in the air grouping of drivers. Not expecting them quite yet. Already coming up to lap 30 next time by. Of note, in the air grouping of drivers, Phil Bowers, Jack Mace already on the lead lap. Working to get that feedback to you as soon as possible. Still taking a look at those in this grouping. You know who's moved up to the pack if we can go? Blake McCandless is up to 14th. Wow.
And we saw, or we talked about in the pre-race show a little bit, had that not great qualifying effort, started dead last, and up 17 spots, definitely the biggest mover in this field. Has a bit of a throwback-y looking scheme going on, which I believe that's actually just a regular scheme that he's been running for RTP here, and so far it might be old school, but it's old fast.
Talk about cutting his way through the field like a hot knife through butter. McCandless is really proving that right now, gaining 17 positions from where he started in this race. Of course, a little bit of drama probably helping him cut his way through the field. However, to do that 31 laps into a 100-lap race really proves that he has a fast race truck at his hands, JP. I think we got to keep our attention peeled on him between now and the checkered flag, because he is going to be a man on a mission.
Right now, his mission has been looking very stellar. Still, once those also moving up spots, Max Brady has moved up to the top 10. He's in fact making a move. Max Brady able to move up to 9th despite the left front damage.
Doing a good job working with that traffic, making passes happen. To give a quick rundown, split number 2 back online in the bottom corner of the screen. Coming up to lap 47, we've had about a third of the field pit. Christopher Pfeffer just pitted from 2nd. Channing Bowyer as well pitted in the last 2 or 3 laps. A couple drivers on the 3-stopper, including Michael P. Frisch, Alexander Russell, Agnell Phillip, Carson Bowers, Jack Mish, Dalton England, River Hayes, Michael Bumgarner, Ryan Andrew, and Trevor Huff. River Hayes, Bumgarner, Andrew, Trevor Huff are all still 1 lap down. A couple drivers actually about to get back on the lead lap. So the different pit strategies definitely one to watch. Actually, Mercurio, I believe, just made a pit stop as well.
And that's just about near halfway for him. So this is getting to where we're expecting the stops now for a lot of those drivers on the fuel mileage at least in that split. Oh, some sending meanwhile going on across the track. How about 3 wide? Michael Venable. We haven't talked about him much this championship. He sets it 3 wide for a moment on Brady. And Vrabel Jr. also in that grouping.
Team trying to sort out who wants to be up front there in this pack, who wants to make a move, who wants to just get through it. See the huge front of cars coming off the corner there, which I mean, this whole pack is pretty much not single file, but one large train, but that's definitely the biggest gap right there, and see a huge line of drivers eager to make passes.
With all the cautions, already seen the divergence of the strategy with all the yellows. No one ducking down quite yet for scheduled stops here. This is a tricky pit road to enter, mind you, Ron, because you're basically having to come to do a dead stop right at the yellow line to the inside wall, and then you have to quickly make the commitment cone.
I could probably best describe the pit entry here at the Milwaukee Mile as trying to thread the eye of the needle with the needle attached to a Saturn V rocket traveling at escape velocity. It is incredibly difficult to try and do that at any speed other than a pace car speed, because you really want to try and take advantage of having a good and clean entry on pit lane, with some drivers taking it a little bit easy and being a bit on the safe side rather than the risky side. That usually lends itself to some drivers having some quite sketchy pit road entries. It's also a fantastic opportunity to try and gain some time in these races, so we're definitely going to see a whole lot of drivers push the envelope on pit entry, Brain.
They don't talk about sketchy pit entry, about sketchy pit exit. Jackson Crowder and Justin R. Smith, iRacing has part of the pit road physics where if you're in your pit stalls, you cannot drive, cannot make contact with the other cars. They were inside of one another. Their trucks were coming off of pit lane, and they were, for that, halfway down the apron. So Crowder actually taking advantage of that and taking the lead, not the lead, but taking the spot over Justin R. Smith. As far as drivers have already pit, Brian Mercurio is moving up through the field quickly. Just 5 seconds now. Matt Danson, your leader, started 19th, and Mercurio, current highest running driver of those who have pit.
And that's a really good point you bring up there, Brain, in terms of that pit exit. It's like a bull in a china cabinet. That is the only way we could describe it. That pit exit, I should say, is incredibly narrow. And this is a somewhat older scan of the Milwaukee Mile as well. You can tell with some of the logos that occupy this racetrack here in the world of iRacing. But it's still quite sketchy on pit exit, even to this day. So you don't want to try and merge out on the racetrack, not only because of the risk of picking up a penalty, JP, but also the risk of just getting into some sort of trouble, either spinning out and hitting the wall or hitting one of your competitors. That is an incredibly sketchy point on a racetrack which is full of very sketchy points.
Exactly. Right now, so easy to be able to spin it out, as we've already seen. It's very easy to make contact here. Some side-by-side, by the way. Logan Clampett, he continues his ascension through the pack on long run. Logan Clampett up to third in his quest to return to the Coke Series. His quest looking stellar. He is 5th in the points entering tonight, and right now is one of your fastest trucks on the racetrack right now.
A couple of drivers still yet to pit here in split number 2. Matt Danson, Johnny Vila, Garrison Hogan, and a couple other stragglers just hanging out for a caution. Santiago Gutierrez as well, Nick Miller, and a couple other guys. I don't know what their pit window looks like. Some guys, might just keep wishing and keep praying for that caution. So far, we haven't gotten it.
And wish upon a star, some may indeed be. It's just going to be the matter of seeing, will their wishes be granted with some of these drivers. But Clampett, getting back to him, right now starting to also reel in Eddie Ball. And Eddie Carter looking to see if he can pick up the bouncing ball off pace. Right now, Eddie Carter also one of your top drivers, 2nd in the points. Coming in tonight, his batted average finishes 7th. That's because he's a 2-time winner already this season.
That has that win, race number 1, split number 1 at Chicago, then won last time out, split number 1 as well at Watkins Glen. So a man of many talents, many wins, and currently trying to get number 3. The only multi-time winner for round number 2 for Road to Pro.
You know how hard it is, Braun, to be able to win multiple times though in this ladder, especially in the 2nd round?
Oh, it is an incredible feat and an incredible show of skill from him. He has done wonders with that truck, and he's trying to wheel it as hard as he can. That takes a whole lot of talent to try and get multiple wins in the series. And we saw at the top of the show, just looking at the points, how incredibly close it is in the points, and that's after multiple races, let alone considering the tightness of these fields, race in and race out. So to be able to pull off multiple wins is an incredibly impressive result, and really speaks about how talented that driver is, Brain.
Yeah, looking back at split number 2, speaking of talent, Matt Danson continues to lead the way after starting 19th, but he's got some trouble. He's got some action. He's got some fast cars right behind him, 10-11, about to get back on the lead lap. But Brian Mercurio just got around Garrison Hogan and Caden Rush for 2nd and 3rd. So Mercurio now within a second of running down Matt Danson. Danson yet to pit. Meanwhile, there in the bottom right of your screen, Macuri on that 41 truck, looking for that mint green number 12 in front of him.
Still needs to be able to reel them on in, though. Right now, Mercurio looking lights out again. He's going to be difficult to stop, even if there's a caution flag here, just with how this one has gone so far for Dr. Bob.
And Mercurio actually making the pass right now. They're the 3 wide. They got Johnny Villa coming out of pit lane. Mercurio makes the pass. And it's a new leader in split 2. It's not a new leader, but continued leader back up front. Brian Mercurio out front Incinerator. He's made his pit stop already too, so I think he might be good to set sail here. The only thing that might change, we got a couple drivers in the mid-pack looking for a 2-stop race. Expect them in a couple laps. They might be able to have that pace to go and chase down Brian Mercurio, but I don't think so.
They're quickly closing in on their final stages already. Past 58 laps complete already in that split, by the way. How things have looked. Eddie Kerner has started to knock down time on the leader, by the way. Brandon Hawk has started to struggle a little bit to close out the run, losing a 10th a lap the past 3 laps. By the way, yes, that is Blake McCandless on a different strategy in the backdrop.
He's not scared to try different strategies. We've seen it time and time again from McCandless, and driver in front having a little bit of connectivity issues. That's not what you want to see here. See the field though finally getting spread out. So McCandless looking at that different strategy. Just picked a couple laps ago, so it's gonna be the quickest car on the track though by a long shot.
David Schildhaus also followed the same strategy, so a little bit of gamesmanship and a little bit of differentness being attempted by the North Force trucks. And I mean, why not? We know Blake McCandless. Oh, it's Jack Mace hard in the wall in the bottom corner of your screen. Mace clobbers the wall and we're under yellow.
Jack Mace already down pit lane. Had just pit a couple of laps to go, I believe, and he was one of those drivers on the 2-stop strat.
And that was a huge bit of contact.
So inside of Carson Bowers.
Caution! Split 1 now under yellow. And we just had Mitchell Hunt around for a 3rd time, 2nd time on his own.
Already got a very damaged truck, and at this point it's getting worse and going downhill from here.
And that just pinned Schildhaus a lap down possibly. 2 different cautions. You see the reason for the caution of the other split in the other corner. Near identical times for these yellow flags.
Kind of funny how the yellow flag flies here. First time in split number 2. Got a replay there in split number 1. Just gets loose going in the corner. I think due to that already torn up race truck.
And that, I believe, was very similar to the spin he had earlier on in the race. Pretty much the exact same spot as well. So just an ill-handling race truck sending it down into 3 and 4. And just sadly, that is a recipe for absolute disaster. And it's going to bring the yellow out in split 1, breaking up the longest green flag run we've had in that split by far. And meanwhile, Brain, I think this is what brought the yellow out in split 2.
They're running board of Carson Bowers here in the 16 machine. That's Jack Mace right from the 07. Mace Bob a little bit, starts to come, not really come up the track, but just Bob was a half an inch up the track. That's all it needed to send him around hard inside, or hard to the outside wall, and inside to the garage he goes. He's actually still in pit lane, getting serviced, so he gonna have to call this one over, actually out of the truck. So his truck is sitting there getting serviced by the crew with no driver.
And that simplifies the strategy, doesn't it, though? It is now, for these drivers, simply race it to the end, at least in split 1. No green flag pit stops for your front runners. Some drivers not going to be happy seeing their strategy go bust, though.
Well, some drivers are playing it differently. Johnny Avila, Ashton Slice, Tanner Love, Ryan Andrew, and Ethan Lane have stayed out, so Ethan Lane, their current leader. So this kind of shakes things up. Andrew there in second, pitted 30 laps ago. So I'm not really sure what the game plan is. Maybe thinks he can make it to the end and just, hang on to that inside track position or advantage running the bottom if he can. So this kind of shakes things up a little bit. Mercurial all the way back in 6th.
So both races seen strategy now tossed asunder and tossed around like papers into the sky. So now how do you play this run? Both races under caution, but you're talking about less than 40 laps in one split. You're talking about less than half the race to go in the other.
It's, I would say it's a tale of two halves, JP, because you've got Split 2, which is about to get restarted in the not-too-distant future, I believe, and you've also got Split 1. Of course, Split 2, whole lot of less time left to go in that race. Split 1, meanwhile, we just barely ticked over the halfway mark by the time that yellow came out, and with a restart pending in both of these races, JP, I honestly have the feeling that these drivers, they're just going to wing it throughout the rest of this race. Their tires are not going to feel good from now all the way until the checkered flag in both splits. They're going to be pushing it to the absolute limit, and I feel like we're going to have a side-by-side restart as it looks like Split 2 is about to grab the green in a few moments, with Split 1 soon to follow.
Now I'm 33 to go when they get racing here in about a second's time. All tires up in front. Will they stick it out 30-plus laps for some? Bold strategy caught it. Let's see if it plays out. Already some tire spin, 3 wide behind Ethan Lane and company as everyone tries to go in the land rush, 4 wide.
Johnny Avila on the bottom, Tanner Love in the middle, Ryan Andrew up top, and Mercurial pushing Love through the middle. Ashton slides into the wall. Actually, a couple drivers wrecking behind them, though. Yellow flag is out in split number 2, and we are getting our fair share of cautions now. Whereas River Hayes into the wall, and looks like heavy damage for that truck.
Restart already in split 1. They're 3 wide mid-pack already. Already seen some different strategy too. Blake McCandless stayed out. Christopher Hill as well. Hill trying to see if clean air is going to work. McCandless getting swarmed. 3 wide middle from one of the Crowders. Once again, Ashton getting pressurized. Connor Euroshack trying to keep it inside. Nearly gets into a Blaze Crawford outside.
And it's definitely not going to work out any time of the week. And so far, they're making it work. They're making it stick. But for how long is the big question.
Yeah, 3 wide not going to last forever here. As we continue on with some 3 wide for now. Milam involved Venable yet again, involved Kevin Champagne up the middle. They're squeezing tightly. No give and take. They go 2 by 2. Will Cooley now under attack.
Looking back, going back to that split T-Rock real quick, it seems that Agnell Phillip got a little bit of contact to hit our camera, so we will not be able to get a replay of it, but Agnell Phillip and River Hayes both involved, and as well as Channing Bailu as well. So all the drivers able to keep it going, but a little bit of damage for those trucks.
And sadly, it seems like we'll have to replace a camera after this broadcast. But one point I was going to mention, in reference to the madness that we see in Split 1 right now, I have a feeling with the amount of yellow flag running they had in the first half of this race, these drivers are just used to going side by side around this entirety of the racetrack, because even a few laps after this restart, they are still side by side throughout a decent chunk of the field, JP.
And Christopher Hill already losing the lead. Up in the lead, Brennan Hawk now. You have Kerner lined up. You have Clampett lined up, trying to find a way around. Blake McCandless getting absolutely swallowed up by the pack on the older tires from the outside. That's how much the gamble did not pay off on 7-lap older tires here.
Speaking of older tires, Ethan Lane, 10-11, and Ryan Andrews stay out. I mentioned Andrew on 37-lap old tires. Mercurio there in 4th, Ashton Slice in 5th, and Johnny Avila there in 6th. So those drivers have all stayed out last caution and this caution for my Mercurio, and Carson Bowers, Bob Gardner, Garrison Hogan, Michael P. Frisch running at our top 10 split number 2. We're less than 30 laps to go here, so these guys are eager to get back to racing.
McCandless nearly bumped and ran out of the way by Vrabel. Still able to keep the grip stuck together, though. Now keep in mind, one thing should mention here, these drivers, one set remaining after the initial pit stop, so a lot of these drivers here cannot afford to burn a set here if they want a shot. That's why we're seeing some of these drivers take these risks, Braden. But the problem is, it's almost like a roulette. If you don't hit at the roulette, you end up falling backwards on the racetrack.
And you don't want to put your life savings on one color and lose it all, and that's a very easy thing to do here. Try and make one quick pass, see him 3 wide going into turn 1. Try and make a pass, hope it sticks, and you get a little bump, you get it out of the groove, you lose it a little bit, and you go into the wall, and you instead of finishing 15th or 20th or 10th, you're finishing 31st dead last. So speaking of finishing dead last, Jack May still that driver we saw in that incident bit ago on pit lane. Meanwhile, everyone else is split 2 on the lead lap still.
And ready to restart in split 2, by the way. You see that in the lower corner of your screen. And they're reaching the home stretch yet again. Let's go over there once again for some side-by-side. Mercurio, first of those on some of the freshies. He's right now ready to start from the outside, back underway.
Mercurio trying to run that high side pull, hustle on 10 or love, doing good. Watching the bottom of the screen, see a couple drivers, 2, 3, 4 wide almost come up turn 2. This didn't work out this time. I don't think it's gonna work out. It didn't work out last time. I don't think it's gonna work out this time.
A lot of people trying to shuffle lanes right now. Getting some bold moves out there to play right now in that respective split. Michael Frisch right now in the middle of the Hornet's Nest. 4 wide, front straightaway.
This isn't going to work out at all. They're going to be able to short it out a little bit. That's Ryan Andrew in the bottom. Yellow flag out. Aston Slash in the middle. Vila up top. Meanwhile, said it didn't work out last time. It wasn't going to work out this time, and it does not work out indeed. We got Caden Rush around from the 13th position.
So Rush gets turned around as part of some bumper cars into turn 1. No major damage, but we're under caution in that split.
Actually, some pretty heavy damage to Caden Rush. Heavy left side hit to that truck, and I don't think it's going to be too torn up, but it doesn't look too torn up, but it's not going to be handled anywhere near of what it was. We saw that huge sense of urgentness, yeah, we'll go with that. That's a word. To make moves on that restart, and that's exactly what happened.
So, one split under caution, one continued race. Let's switch on over and see what happened here. Again, Rush getting turned around there.
You're going to be looking at that mint truck on the bottom there. Matt Danton, I believe it's actually, yeah, right here. Slides up into Quentin Warman into Rush. So Danton was going from top to bottom there, trying to make a move, and kind of sends it in deep on Warman. Plays a ping pong. Crowder also with damage, and unfortunately, Rush was the first one to, I guess, not have a safety totem and gets voted off Island.
And Rush and a couple others having to come down pit road here as a result of the caution flag. Rush taking some damage, also taking some tires here. We're counting to 33 laps to go, by the way, in split 1. And those drivers have stayed green in their run. Split 2, Mercurio was up to second. He is flying through this field, although he still has a lot more to risk. Speaking of risks, we'll see if there's any risk played with 33 to go in the other split.
Yeah, I think split 2's kind of passed the torch as far as getting the green flag runs in over to split number 1. Brennan Hawk, your leader. And so far, looking like the favorite to win in the late stages of this one. See if anyone has anything to say about that. Clamp it there in second. You see the gap, and then Eddie Kerner in third. Eddie Kerner knows how to get the victory lane. He's gone there twice in round 2 already. See if he can get a third one.
Brennan Hawk so far has showed some great pace here tonight. And right now, it's question, does Clampett have the pace to reel him in as well? Team Conti Machine is still slowly but surely closing in. By the way, we've had an issue at the back of the field apparently. JT Poole just crashed because he lost a monitor he just reported in the sim during this run and crashed into the inside wall.
That's not ideal by any means. See the damage on the front end, not too much damage, but see the Mitchell Hunt in the background missing the bumper. That's missing the left front quarter panel. You kind of need that. That's not too bad, but missing a monitor, that's going to be unfortunate for sure. I wonder if he's on a 3-monitor setup and driving off the other 2, but just completely lost everything altogether.
He was running towards the 20s still, but that truck definitely significantly damaged as a result of that technical issue. Daniel Day gonna have to help around the racetrack. He's bouncing off the walls down the straightaways now.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's still having a little bit of a vision issue. That truck is mishandling. Either option seems legit. Meanwhile, Brennan Hawk continues to lead. And they got split 2 lights off in the pace car through 1 and 2, getting ready to go back green here with about 21 laps to go when they do.
They get ready to gear up for the restart. We'll go half-half in a moment. But also looking right now at the 16 truck, that's Ashton Crowder back in 5th. He doesn't seem to have the run he needs past 35-40 right now, based on speed. We'll see if that changes with adjustments now. But time for another restart. Split 2, ready to go. Old tires inside, newer tires outside.
Mercurial gets a great launch from not as good as Ethan Lane, their leader. He's got Avila right behind him though, pushing Mercurial across the line. And Ryan Andrew as well starting to fall back a little bit there in that 5th spot. So Mercurial side by side with Ethan Lane for the lead. See if they're able to make it stick as they're going to fan out 2-3 wide here and back. In fact, they're going to get turned. We're going to be re-racking them, restacking them, and driver hard in the inside wall. I'm not sure who that is, but we'll find out.
Both splits will be, in fact, under caution as well in the other grouping. Daniel Nanny got turned around in split 1 down the straightaway. And so a lot of contact for some drivers built up in this one as both groupings under caution.
Kind of a monkey see, monkey do type situation here. They saw split 2 start wrecking. They're like, man, that looks like fun. I love pacing.
I don't think they intentionally do that. Let's take a look at some replays. This is what happened. Offset 3 wide to start.
That's never going to work out here, and definitely not coming off a turn 4. And oh man, around he goes. Nice little 360. He's been able to keep it going though.
And so that ends up sending Nanny around, obviously. But that damaged 3 different trucks there.
Definitely not a track where you need the front bumper, you don't need your body panels, but having mechanical damage when mechanical grip is all you have to rely on. You definitely want to have that grip if you can.
Let's see what happened in the air split. You've seen this, Braden.
Yeah, gonna go back a little bit here. Matthew Morton there in that bright yellow truck in the middle. Acap is right in front of him. That can't take out Tier's in the red truck in the middle. Then Dalton England on the bottom and Cabe McClenny up top. They're gonna play 3 cars going for 1.5 spots, start wrecking, start stacking them up, and unfortunately, Morton gets the worst of it.
Yeah.
Another angle from our sky cam. I'd say it'd be the drone, but I wrecked the drone last week, so unfortunately I don't have it. See the bobble there by Tierez, and unfortunate for him, gets ran over from behind Dylan C. Jones in the 29 truck, doing the running over. No major damage though for Morton. Dog driver's doing a great job. Agnell Phillip did a great job of going through the grass to make sure he didn't have any extra damage.
So both splits under caution. We'll see how they sort things out now as a result of all things in this situation. You know what's different though is roll of the dice time for Rocky Boyd III, Colton Harvey, JRS Racing, and Express Esports rolling the dice with their drivers, Ron. This is a bold strategy.
Well, honestly, considering the point in the season these drivers find themselves in, I feel like bold strategies may be the way to go. Unless you're trying to defend the lead, if you're trying to attack for the lead, that's the sort of calls you need to make. And we're seeing these teams start to make them. We're seeing the drivers start to make them. And considering how dramatic and different both of these races have been, you can't really blame them too much for doing it, as these yellows have started to arise in Split 2 and Split 1 start to get into a green flag rhythm. These races have just gone in two completely different directions. They've mirrored, in a way. Split 2, first half fairly clean, pretty much spent the entirety of the first half under green flag conditions, and then had a little bit of extra time, and then we started getting into the yellows breed yellow section. Meanwhile, for Split 1, it's pretty much the complete opposite. The beginning of the race was quite jumbled up with a whole lot of yellows breaking up the action, but ever since we hit that 50 lap mark in Split 1, it's been pretty clean. We've only had like 1 or 2 yellows ever since, but as we're about to get a restart in both of these races, JP, I have a feeling that that division is going to go even stronger, with drivers running completely different strategies, drivers feeling completely different things with their race cars, and as we go to the split view, I think we're going to have some split starts as well.
Put to 4 cautions in the last 22 laps of the race. They'll restart first. Lane in control, Mercurio once again alongside. Green flag is out, Lane already covered it off. 4-5 wide and down the straightaway. Rocky Boy the third underway in Split 1. 3-5 wide in the heart of the field.
Yeah, both fields trying to send drivers into the cheese curd stand here. Mercurio sleeping a little bit on that restart. Ethan Lane gets the jump on him, and it'll be the 5 stealing that.
Oh, look at this! Now to the race lead for the first time, Connor Euroshak squeaks his way by. Rocky Boy the third getting moved out of the way by Clampett. Now Vrabel gets in on the moving. Harvey gets moved around. Absolute hornet's nest as Ashton Crowder tries to make the run high side on Clampett.
Drivers playing bumper car, starting to fall back through the field. They're going to stack up, going to the 1, able to keep it going straight for the most part. I don't know how. They are 4 wide through the corner. The yellow flag out in split number 2, but split number 1 is somehow figuring this one out.
There's the look at where the caution is. One of the Altus Esports trucks going around, and Rocky Boy getting some help. Caution. Rocky Boy the third gets turned around to the heart of the field, and he was not getting a break from anyone before that.
I think we're having a case of, once again, monkey see, monkey do. Split 2 wreck, split 1 thinks about how much fun they've had pacing tonight, and they're going to re-rack and re-stack them. So Ethan Lane on the older rubber, he has about, for reference, 15 lap older tires than Brian Mercurio. Is doing a great job on this restart. I think it's because they can't get a long green flag run it.
Yeah, Rocky was getting ping-ponged a lot there on those older tires, and right here is where the breaking point, 5 wide.
Yeah, that's not going to work out, especially not Milwaukee. The track definitely wide enough, but not the racing groove, and some drivers eager to get around him, some too eager, and around he goes. No heavy damage, no wall hits for him, and going to be able to keep it going.
Yeah, his cage getting rattled around there. Let's take a look at what happened in a moment here on the other side as Rocky Boy the third gets spun in a circle. Here's a look at the other split.
It's going to be James Winslow in the 43. Beautiful looking truck. Comes off of turn 2, 3 wide barrier to his inside, and then Nick Miller to his outside. And then they're just playing ping pong at that point. And they decided they wanted to get the wall involved. And unfortunately, they can't ping pong off the wall too bad here. They can't do ping pong off it too soft.
So both splits now under caution. Take a look at our replay in the lower corner of your screen. Yet again, Wenzel just getting turned.
So tight, come off the corner, and like you start ping pong up on the other side to keep it going straight. And unfortunately, Nick Miller there would just barely hang on the right rear, and when that happens, you don't ping pong off that truck on the outside to get turned into the wall and start ping pong off the wall, which you said, it's not a very fun experience. Not here at Milwaukee, especially.
Lights out in both splits, or rather in one split rather. Lights out in split 1 already. Connor Euroshak for the first time all day in the race lead. The lights out now confirmed for both splits. Splits 2 still lights, I should rather say. They are just deciding to double up that way. But
are you going to get back going racing?
Yeah, they're very eager at this point. Coming up to 20 to go there. Or under 20 to go already. Coming up towards 10. Connor Euroshak, though, he's very eager to see if he can back up that restart to jump by Kerner, Clampett, and more. Brandon Hawk got shuffled to 6th. Euroshak for Nexus Esports in command. Green flag is out. Down to 17 to go. And he goes topside. All of them going 3 wide behind him.
Hawk looked like the favorite to win about 15-20 laps ago, falling back there, barely inside outside the top 5. And meanwhile, they're shuffling back in the back one more time, too. Staggered 3 wide off of turn number 2. So far, they're making it work.
Right now, that top grouping of 8 or so starting to build a bumper compared to the rest of the field. Caution in split 1. Matthew Batby has been sent around like a baseball bat into the wall.
Yeah, definitely striking a miss there for Batby, and getting ready to go back green though. Perfect timing for split number 2. Ethan Lane once again on the bottom, with Curry on the outside.
Let's first take a look at the restart coming up in split 2. They now have the lights out. Apologies for earlier, as Lane still is in the lead, coming up to 11 laps to go. Green flag is out, back underway. And already a lot of blocking, a lot of sliding in the middle of the field. They are around for a caution.
It's Ryan Andrew just inside the top 10, and top 10 gone wrong. Very damaged truck for Andrew. Gets shuffled way to the bottom, enters turn 1, staggered 3-4 wide, and he's going to have a ton of help here to get a replay.
They are really starting to stack them up for cautions, precautions, precautions, precautions. Ryan Andrew, they're one of those who needed a good points haul tonight. Getting bounced around, he tried to block all the way to the wall and paid for it.
That's Carson Bowers there in the 42. Definitely given that initial contact, sending Andrew up the track. I mean, it's so tight after a restart, there's no room to be bounced up. And Andrew just along for the ride, and McClenny to his outside as well, getting a little bit of help. And Chowder and a couple others, a little bit of contact. So Andrew definitely getting the worst of it. Heavy left front damage and back bumper damage. He got hit so hard in the back bumper actually caved in the spoiler.
Right into the door. And meanwhile, Batby went into trying to battle it out. Looked like Venani. And a lot of people had to lock it up, Nate Stewart especially, to avoid contact.
You gotta do what you can to not get any damage. You talked about mechanical grip is so crucial here, and you know some of these drivers build these setups on such an edge where if any damage with the truck, you know, maybe aero, maybe a little bit of Monica is what I like. That's one song, my bad. But a little bit of damage there is just going to kill your run, short run, long run, and middle run. You want to have short run speed right now.
Yeah, you really need the fire off speed right now, especially in the older tires. But back to the live action. Batby now dead last with that. Would you believe we're still with everybody in the race on the lead lap in split 1? No DNFs.
A lot of missing front bumpers though in split number 2. Only DNF or only driver not running on the lead lap is Jack Mason last in that 30th spot, 28 laps down. Still on pit road, still in the session. I think he's grabbing a hot dog for this point, maybe some pizza. And actually, not black flag in the air for Ryan Andrew. If I had to guess, for the incident penalty limit, so he will have to do a drive-through to putting salt, at least I believe it's drive-through, but putting salt on the wound.
14 to go, meanwhile, it's split 1. They're back underway again. A land rush. Oh, and Eurojack gets uprooted. Here comes Eddie Kerner. Kerner goes to the inside for the race lead. Coming around the 12 laps to go.
Kerner trying to make it stick, trying to hug that yellow line side by side. You got one driver though looking on the bottom. I believe is that Clamp there on the bottom trying to make it 3?
Trying to take a peek. Couldn't make the peek work. Eddie Kerner gets the lead at the stripe. He's looking for a 3rd win this season. Eurojack tries to pinch down for the high side.
And Ron, you see the battle is heating up all over split number 1 here, and definitely things are getting exciting in the final stages.
I feel like at this point, there is a blowtorch being applied to both of these races. The pressure is ramping up. These drivers are feeling even more racy. I'm honestly surprised that this split one restart hasn't been dramatic, even though we have a battle side by side for the lead coming up to 10 laps to go in this split one race. The previous 2 restarts we've had were absolute pandemonium in split one. So despite the fact that this is slightly less chaotic than we've had as of late, it is still dramatic, as we nearly had a wreck coming out of turn number 2, Brain.
A couple drivers get ready to roll back in split number 2 as well. It should be 6 laps to go, so things heating up all over.
Caution! Caution in split 1. Euroshack, believe, got the scoring loop as Joe Armstrong goes around. That's with coming around 10 laps to go as the other split will now start here. 6 to go when they hit the stripe. Ethan Lane, Brian Mercurio, still your front row. Lane already jumps through, and a couple already jumped to the inside. Warman and company already taking it 4 wide again.
And Mercurio trying to get down to the bottom, trying to get that yellow line. Warman on the bottom, Crowder up by the wall, getting crowded. He's got Russell, that's Alexander Russell, his bomb. McClinney down the track, and we got them wrecking in the back, though, through the grass still. And we're going to re-rack and restack them. This should push in the green-white checker territory. Ryan Andrew, I believe, might have been able to serve that black flag. No, he doesn't, but Justin R. Smith meatball, Garrison Hogan meatball flag.
Your replay of what caused the caution. 4 wide, by the way, for Armstrong in split 1. Put them under yellow. And that put them with 5 laps to go under the yellow flag. This is already coming up to possibly green-white checker territory just about here.
See him going 4 wide in the corner here, going to start stacking up, and then you're looking at the red and gray Nitro Circus Toyota number 36 of Garrison Hogan. Back in the pack a little bit a ways, but they're going to see the hit here, that the technically number 19 in the sim and number 36 though on your screen. So you don't get a ton of help as well. It gets to the scene actually fairly late. Nitro Circus on the back bumper there. Falls back 3 wide, now still 3 wide in the 42. That's Carson Bowers comes up. I think he might have got pinched a little bit, Justin R. Smith in the wall. And then the hit, though, that Hogan takes after the fact. Oh, a driver comes along trying to see who it was and absolutely sends him into the wall.
Look on board, this is from Bowers. Right into the Nitro Circus truck.
Yeah, the hit from Bayou behind is actually going to destroy Garrison Hogan, and then another driver as well. Late damage for Caden Rush, a late hit for him.
7 laps to go when they get back to the stripe in split 1. They are about to restart here already. This gonna be an intense battle here. Euroshack nearly got zipped by Carter. It came down to the scoring loop. German, who is leading at the time of the caution.
Side by side, going to run him up the track a little bit on this restart, playing a little bit of trickery here. You want to get a quick jump, that's a great way to do it. I just don't think it works as well here in Milwaukee with a late restart. Green flag, we're pace car in, green flag should be back in the air.
Green flag is out, back to racing. Euroshack got a good restart. 6 laps to go. Next time by the stripe, Carter under attack, more for second. Blake McCandless is making up ground. He is taking it outside in this group 2.
3, 4 wide in the back of pack, trying to sort that one out. Battle for the lead kind of calmed down, but the battle for second definitely heating up.
Caution. And they are close to GWC territory. Not yet. Milam from 12th position getting turned around and under yellow again.
I believe we're going to use one of our 3 green and white checkers to split number 2 here. We'll find out in about 10-15 seconds. The split 1 is definitely going to be in a pretty close situation.
Looks like that's going to be the case. Remember, if we take the white flag, the race is to the checkered. If we get a caution before the white flag, they will re-rack them and stack them until that 3rd attempt. If there is a caution before the white flag on attempt 3, it would end under caution.
So we're going to be looking for that white flag. 1 of 3 green white checkered attempts are both splits. Split number 2 using their first up right now. Split 1 might get lucky, might be able to use a natural green white checkered. Looking back on the drivers involved in that wreck, only driver to lose a lap is Garrison Hogan, so everyone's still out running minus Jack Mace.
Here's the reason why split 1's under caution. One of the Nexus trucks.
That's a hard hit to the outside, I'll tell you that, especially this late in the race. You don't want to be taking those hits right now. Ryan Andrew, I believe still he does have that black flag to serve, so he's going to be hoping that he's able to serve under a green-white checkered here, and they get another green-white checkered. Else he's going to be finishing 30 or at least 28.
Coming up to green-white checker territory in the split number 2 action. Lane, Mercurio through turn 1 and 2. Mercurio tries to keep it outside, does.
Ethan Lane there in the bottom of the black 14, Mercurio in the black 41. Got the green spoiler, trying to go green to checkered here in second. Going to follow Lane, get to his outside a little bit, not able to do so.
Still trying to find a way to get there, Mercurio. Coming up to the white flag, brought to you by Maconi Entertainment. Final time around in split 2. Lane trying to hold on, Mercurio trying to get to his bumper.
Ethan Lane playing the lane game. Mercurio thinks about pulling out the front bumper. He's going to get a little bit loose. Same does Lane, but Mercurio gets looser. He's going to lose a ton of time going down the back straightaway. Half a mile to go for Ethan Lane.
Through 3 and 4 for the final time. Lane slides up. Mercurio can't slide to him. Checker flag waves. Ethan Lane holds on. He'll take the win at the Milwaukee Mile.
Ethan Lane plays the pit strategy beautifully, hangs on for the ride of his life, wins this one. He's got a bit of a congratulations going on. That's Michael Bumgarner coming up, Johnny Avila, a couple other drivers all congratulating. Lane started just inside the top 10 there in 9th, and beautiful win for him. Not a much needed win. He was about 5-6 points above the cutoff line, but definitely gonna be a lot more comfortable going to Rockingham.
Another split underway with 3 laps to go. Euroshack trying to now hold off Eddie Carter for that race win. Carter trying to go for a diamond line, trying to get back to the inside of Euroshack.
Now the Euroshack able to hang on for a little bit. Kerner right in line behind him. A little bit of blink, I believe, there by Kerner, but Kerner looking to get on the outside, get side by side off this corner. Not quite able to do so yet.
2 laps to go in split 1. Blaze Crawford. He's focused on the battle side by side for third with Clampett.
See the burnouts in the bottom of your screen. Ethan Lane celebrating good. There, you still got to figure out who's going to celebrate in split 1. Euroshack with the advantage, but not by much.
Connor Euroshack's had to battle to get to this spot all race long. He'll see the white flag this time by. Coming out of turn 4. Euroshack got through the traffic, the best out of anybody, and now looks to close it out. Kerner trying to reach.
Euroshack trying to win on the road to oldest continuously running racetrack, continuously running for that checkered flag. He's already got to win this season around 2. Try and find number 2 if he can get there. Half mile to go.
Coming up to the checker flag, this time by Euroshack. Had the scratch and claw. He had been in the top 5 all race. But it comes down to the fire-off. It comes down to getting through traffic. Connor Euroshack wins the Milwaukee Mile.
Great run for all these drivers. Euroshack was sitting comfortably in point 10 with Kerner there behind him, but it's going to be real comfort going to Rockingham. Euroshack leads 21 laps, up 3 spots from where he started. So the driver that leads most laps doesn't win tonight in both splits.
And
Ethan Lane, sorry to interrupt, but Ethan Lane is still doing donuts in split number 2.
I mean, do you blame Ethan Lane? Long time in the series, able to come away with the win. Connor Euroshack, one of the new young rising stars at eNASCAR competition. He gets himself another W. That's his 2nd in this season. He'll get the chance to burn it on down for Nexus.
Doing a great job at burning on down, he does.
So Ethan Lane wins in one split, Connor Euroshak wins in the other. And as Euroshak burns it on down, take a step aside in a moment. You're watching iRacing social media platforms, Maconi Entertainment post-race coverage coming up for tonight's eNASCAR qualifying iRacing Series action for the Milwaukee Mile.
Want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to iRacing's virtual Milwaukee Mile for tonight's coverage of the eNASCAR qualifying iRacing Series after a wild one for both splits here tonight. Let's take a look at the race results in Split 1. Connor Yoshak, Eddie Kerner, Logan Clampett on your podium. Blaze Crawford finished in front of Ashton Crowder tonight. Blake McCandless, Brad Wright, Nick Olson, Brandon Hawk, Max Brady rounds out your top 10 in that split.
See Shandon Nyhoff there in 11th. Michael Venable, I believe he was part of a caution earlier, has a nice recovery to finish there in 12th. Nyhoff also up 9 spots from that 20th starting spot. So David Shieldhouse, we talked about some of the moves he made earlier in the race, dodge and wreck, deep in the starting spot to finish 13th. Will Cooley, cool finish for him in 14th. Christopher Hill in 15th. Daniel Nanny 16th. Cameron Champagne in 17th, Nate Stewart in 18th, Brandon Kohler in 19th, Matt Kosher in 20th, and then Ron will take the rest of the field from here.
Alrighty, it's going to be Robbie Variable Jr. finishing this race in 21st. Rocky Boyd III going to be finishing this race in 22nd. Chad McGinley in 23rd. Nicholas Morse in 24th. That's going to be Joe M. Armstrong in 25th. David L. Brown in 26th. JT Poole, after an incident, he's going to end up in 27th. Connor J. Harvey going to be finishing this race in 28th. Dalton Milam in 29th. Matt Batby going to be finishing this race in 30th. And then the last of the finishers is going to be Mitchell Hunt, who had that drama earlier on in the race, brought out, I believe, 3 yellows, unless I'm very much mistaken. A scrappy evening from him in the 40. He is going to be the last of the finishers in that race.
All drivers finishing on the lead lap though in split number 1. Split number 2 results, JP.
Ethan Lane comes away with the win there over Mercurio. Michael Bumgarner coming away in 3rd. Johnny Avila, Ashton Slice to top 5. Quentin Warman in 6th. Michael Pre-Frisch in 7th. Jackson Crowder, Tanner Love, Cabe McClenny in your top 10 in that one.
Dalton England there to finish 11th. Channing Bellew up 10 spots as well to finish 12th. Alexander Russell 13th. Christopher Pfeffer had an eventful night. Pit strategy does not work out. Late race for him. 14th. Dylan C. Jones in 15th. Matt Danson 16th. Carson Bowers there in 17th. James Winslow late race incident still finishes the 18th. Top 20 run for him. Nick Miller there in 19th. And Trevor Huff rounding out your top 20.
And gotta look through the rest of the field. We've got Jack Coyne in 21st, Matthew Morton in 22nd, Angle Phillip in 23rd, Santiago Tyrez in 24th, River Hayes in 25th, Caden Rush in 26th, Ryan Andrew in 27th, Garrison Hogan in 28th, Justin Smith in 29th, then Jack Mace going to round out your field, 39 laps down after a hard impact into the outside wall through 3 and 4. Going to be the last of the drivers classified in the second split race. And gentlemen, I think we have some drivers waiting in the interview waiting area to have a chat with us.
Yes, we do. We have, first of all, our Split 1 drivers. Let's start things off with Connor Euroshack, your winner tonight. Connor, you had to battle for that one. It came down to some of the restarts. In fact, how are you feeling being a multi-race winner in round 2?
Man, I'm so happy with how that all played out. I mean, I really couldn't ask for anything else there. Like, I'm surprised more people didn't take 2 there on the last, after that long run. And I came out second behind Clampett, and I was like, yeah, this is good. There's lots of two-tire people behind us. And then the restart happened there, and Clampett kind of just got boxed in on the bottom, and me restarting on the outside, I just had so much track that I could use and was able to roll top. And after that, I could kind of control the restarts, and just how it seems to go nowadays with, if you get a yellow after you've put your final set on, it's just caution after caution. Once we got a few heat cycles, I feel like I pretty much evened out with Eddie and was able to just hit my marks at the end and bring it home.
So why the 2 tires is the question from that restart perspective then?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I really didn't want to be back in the trenches again. I mean, I just felt like you're going to have some people stay out, and then I just felt like you had a much better chance of getting wrecked if you took 4 and was restarting around 10. So I thought I'll take 2 and stay up a bit more by the front, and it definitely worked out.
So that being said, The Rock is next. Your thoughts on Rockingham?
I don't particularly like it, but I'm sure, I think it's 3 weeks till the race, so I got lots of time to figure it out, and I'm just going to keep riding this momentum as long as I can.
Well, congratulations once again, Connor, on the victory here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to thank all my teammates at Nexus Esports, Area iRacing, everyone that lets me have a good truck and come out here and compete for wins. I appreciate it.
Congratulations once again on the run tonight, Connor.
Absolutely. You guys have a good night.
Connor Euroshack coming away with a solid run here tonight that sees him in victory lane. Second spot went to Eddie Kerner. Kerner is with Braden Lester.
Eddie, you came 2/10 shy of getting your 3rd win here of round number 2, but still great points nonetheless. Are you content with that second place finish, or you wish you got that win?
We always wish you got the win, but I was content with second. Just we were going for no mistakes today. I should be pretty close to getting locked in, and I didn't really feel I needed to push the issue. I mean, I could have driven Euroshack up the track when I was side by side, but I wanted to race him clean for it, so happy with a second.
And we talked to Euroshack a second ago and talked about a couple different pit strategies. You guys had a very eventful race all along the entire night from flag to flag. You had 10 cautions, and kind of talk us through the different strategies that opened the door up. And were you expecting 10 cautions for 34 laps?
No, usually this race is pretty clean because the dirty air is really bad. Everyone kind of gets that, 4 to 5/10 gap. It's hard to bring out yellows, but we weren't. I wasn't expecting that many yellows. At the end, the only real call was the 2 tires or 4 tires with like 20 to go-ish, and from our testing, we felt that 2 was gonna lose a little too much grip, but obviously the yellows brought the heat cycles and kind of even us out there at the end. So I felt, we made the kind of the right strategy calls all day.
Of course. And then last question for you as well is going to Rockingham next week. A bit of an unusual track for you guys, not very common track on the service. How are you feeling about that?
Should be an interesting race. I believe the top is going to be the preferred lane in 3 and 4. So I think it's going to be one of our more dynamic tracks that we go to, which should put on a good race. So looking for just finishing that race, and I should be kind of locked in the Pro Series here. So yeah.
Definitely cool indeed. Well, we appreciate taking the time to speak with us, and we appreciate taking the time to put on a great show for the fans at home.
Yep, thank you to Norse Force and all the guys, EPI and Jared Liebert, again, for the great setup. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Again, that's Eddie Kerner coming away second. Third spot, Logan Clampett went to battle a lot tonight. He is with Ron Mons.
Okay, Logan Clampett, thank you for joining us here in the commentary booth. A very hard-fought evening from your perspective out there on the racetrack. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was a pretty solid race. Decent qualifying effort. And kind of got up to second there mid-race behind Brandon. I was slightly faster than him. I was catching him a bit, and the caution came out, and I said, all right, let's take two here. And it was definitely the call to take, but those two guys stayed out in the front, and it just slowed everyone up on the bottom, especially when I hit Rocky. I mean, either way, just not the call for him to make. Both of those guys, which, I mean, it sucks, but that's just how these races play out. But I think we could have won that race, because I think we could have been in Connor's position fairly easily. But we'll take a third place and get out of here with good points, and hopefully we can lock it up into contender next race at Rockingham.
Well, for your sakes, I'll keep my fingers crossed. And you mentioned a few moments ago the importance of strategy calls in this race. Can you talk the viewers through that and just how important it was making the right calls at the right time?
Yeah, the calls were very important. I knew it was going to be caution after caution at the end. So I'm surprised that Brandon didn't take two there. Very surprised. Eddie got very lucky with the four tires. I mean, he just rolled around the outside. That's just how these short tracks are. I really hope that Rockingham is a little better. I've been a bit on the short end of the stick with all these splits and all the cautions and everything. I want to go out there and have some fun and race.
Well, with the thoughts you just gave towards the race at Rockingham, I'll ask you one more question before we let you go. Is there anyone you want to give a thanks to or shout out?
Yeah, absolutely. The Conti guys put in a lot of hard work for this race. I know a lot of them didn't get the finishes they wanted to in the other split, but huge thanks to them. Jack Smith, Jack Mace, Justin Smith, Bumgarner got third. That was awesome, and Olsen got eighth. Dustin Hall, of course, is our lead guy in the Road Pro program, and obviously thanks to Conti as well. But a lot of hard work by those guys. So thankful to have a shot at the win once again and come out of here with good points.
Well, the hard work is definitely paying off. Logan, thanks for joining us here on this broadcast on Maconi Entertainment tonight, and excited to see you back out on track with the Road to Pro Series in Rockingham in the not-too-distant future. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks, Ron.
That's Logan Clampett rounding of the top three in split one. I'd like to thank them for taking the time to speak with us. Split two has a few standing on by as well. Brian Mercurio now joins us. You finished second in your split here tonight. Brian, talk us through those final restarts, having a battle with Ethan Lane.
I'll be 100% honest. Not a diss or anything, but it wasn't really even a battle. I know I had fresher tires, but once you start getting some heat cycles in here, any advantage that I pretty much have from having the fresher tires kind of goes away. I was able to get a few spots in like the first or second restart from the group that stayed out ahead of me. But once you get like 2 or 3 cautions in, that the advantage from the new tires just goes away. And then also really doesn't help when you get a chance to go green and kind of use your new tires and use the grip and the pace that you have. So I don't know, maybe if we went about 10 or 15 laps at any point there at the end, that would have been nice. Could have challenged something, but never got that, unfortunately.
Well, in that case, then, how would you describe the season? You amongst those in the championship hunt for the round 2 title with you, Philip, and Kerner, battling it out very tightly in these points.
I mean, first off, just to see guys like Eddie and Frisch up there with me, 2 teammates of mine over on Norse Force Racing. I think it's just a testament to how strong our group's running right now. Everybody that's driving and also working behind the scenes, building the setups, they're putting in a lot of effort. And I'm glad that, not only just myself, but we're able to have a bunch of guys up here that are fighting in points contention. So big testament to the group. Everyone's working really, really hard. I think our group has a lot of good synergy going right now. So to be in a title fight is awesome to begin with, but to have it with some of your good friends and who happen to be your teammates, they can be the ones that often keep you on your toes. So pretty encouraging. I'm really happy with how I've ran so far. Chicagoland didn't go as quite what I wanted to, but to be on the podium here the last 3 races is pretty awesome.
And so, on that note, your thoughts on the Rock coming up?
I mean, first off, we got an extra week here until that race, so kind of feels like a distant memory of sorts here. Not even a memory. That's the wrong word. You know what I mean? It's a long ways away. We got an extra week here than we normally would. But I know I've always ran pretty good at the Rock. I like running there. It's even though it's the same length as Milwaukee here, we get an extra 20 laps, so that's always a little bit more fun. Gives a little bit more time for some good racing to develop. My first real competitive road to pro race there was all the way back in race number 2 in 2020. That was my first race when I joined my first sim racing team in low line racing. So I had a great finish there. So just in the context of road to pro, Rockingham brings back a lot of good memories. Ran a little bit there back in the winter. I know we've had some updates here, and I believe we'll be getting the build here in between now and Rockingham. So maybe things will change a little bit, but at least it's a combo that I enjoy running.
Well, congratulations once again on the top 3 once again, Brian.
Thank you. Just if you don't mind real quick, just want to give some quick shout outs, quick thank yous. Thank you, like I said, to everybody at North Force Racing. Kind of named off all the names already, but thank you for their continual support every single week. Makes my job a heck of a lot easier. I'm just the guy that holds the steering wheel and, on the virtual game here. Race EPI, Elite Performance Industries, Bar Visuals, and a bunch of other supporters that hopped on from Milwaukee, Sebeka Bail Bonds, J.A. Fisher Trucking, Pacioli Plumbing Services, What's on Tap, Gabe Fitness, Coast to Coast Sim Racing League, and the Fars Tour. Thank you to all those guys. Wanted to bring them on from Milwaukee, and hopefully I'll be talking to you guys again at some point this season.
Congratulations once again on the podium.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Brian Mercurio coming away with a top 3 run. Michael Bumgardner is now standing on by. He finished 3rd. He's with Braden.
Yeah, Michael, who came into the night 9 points below the cut line there in 29th and 30th, and you come out of tonight top 10 in points and a 12-point gap to the cut line. Tell us about your race.
No, the Team Conti Sim Performance guys, they brought us a really fast truck for Milwaukee. Didn't qualify really where we wanted to, but I knew if we just, stayed in line there, saved our tires, and just managed everything, we could get a good finish. But obviously we had that unfortunate caution there towards the end, which kind of unraveled from there. But our strategy really, two-tire strategy really paid off there towards the end, and we were able to work our way through them lap cars and get us to top 3.
That definitely strategy was thrown away there when you had that lap 63 caution. And then, the first 63 laps go clean and green. You had 7 cautions for 28 laps in the last 38 laps. Definitely shook the race up. How would you say it affected your race?
Honestly, it was a positive. Typically, it don't work out like that for us. Sometimes we're typically on the bad end of the stick just with unfortunate cautions, but like I said, with our strategy and then all them cautions, then we were able to work our way past them no tire cars that stayed out, and just kind of got behind Mercurio there towards the end, and just tried to mind our business and just bring it home P3, and it was a good point stay. So really, really happy about that.
Definitely a great point today indeed. And next race out a couple weeks from now, we shake things up, and we've got a couple mixed answers already. But we're going to Rockingham there in Rockingham, North Carolina. How are you feeling about the Rock?
It's one of my favorite tracks. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Last time we were there for the C Opens, we were really good. So I think all of our guys, like I said, all of our guys work hard at Team Conti. Dustin Hall, Adam Benefield, Justin R. Smith, Michael Conti, and all the guys on our team really put maximum effort into it. And it shows when we have good runs like this. So I'm pretty happy about Rockingham. Like I said, I don't know how it'll work out, but obviously we just seen how Milwaukee did. But we'll definitely put in all our effort into it. And get that thing tuned up. So hopefully we can go challenge for a win.
Yeah, you definitely know what the Rock is cooking. So we appreciate taking time to speak to us. And real quick, feel free to name anyone you want to thank again.
Yeah, like I said, like all the Team Conti guys, my crew chief Brandon Hastings, uh, and like all the Conti guys on the team, they really make a world of difference.
Of course. Yeah, well, thank you, and we will see you next time out, I'm sure, and hopefully in victory lane or at least on the podium.
Thank you.
Once again, that's all our top runners standing on by that we have available. I'd like to thank them for taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage here on Maconi Entertainment and on iRacing social media platforms. Before we get to final thoughts, Brian Mercurio is now unofficially your points leader by 5 points over Michael Frisch. Agnell Phillip dropping back 13. Ethan Lane with the win tonight gets to 4th over Jackson Crowder. Also above the cut line, Quentin Warman, Eddie Kerner, Christopher Pfeffer, Michael Bumgarner, Matthew Morton, Dylan Jones, Clayton McClenny, Logan Clampett fell to 13th. Ashton Slice, Channing Ballou, Connor Jack should say, England, Nate Stewart, Jake Matheson, Jack Coyne is on the bubble by 1 point over Brandon Hawk. Hawk losing that ground was pivotal. Alexander Russell and Kevin Champagne are also within the mix. They are within 5 points. James Wenzel and Carson Bowers also within spitting distance. On that note here tonight, Ron, first I'll start off with you. Your final thoughts on tonight.
Well, I was expecting some drama, and we certainly got it from start to finish. A lot of drivers trying to go for some different strategies, attacking the race at different points in time. It led to 2 drivers in 2 different splits, leading the most amount of laps, but not taking the checkered flag. But from start to finish, it was a fantastically hard-fought race from all of these drivers. And for the most part, at least half of the race for both splits, it was clean. We certainly had our fair share of yellows, though, but overall a hard-fought race here at the Milwaukee Mile, and Rockingham being a completely different track. I'm sure that's going to be an exciting broadcast here on Maconi Entertainment on September the 12th. Brain, what do you think of this race?
Definitely an exciting race all around, and if you thought the attrition here at Milwaukee, a flat track was anything, then when we go to Rockingham in a couple weeks, 25 degrees of banking for that, so we'll get to that in a second, a little bit more about that in a second.
Wild night here tonight, to say the very least, but next race, as mentioned, going to be Rockingham after a new build update. That'll be September the 12th, 8 p.m. start time. Be sure to tune in here on iRacing social media platforms and Maconi Entertainment to see how both splits fare out in RTP. On that note, though, it's just about time to say goodbye. I'd like to thank the sponsors before we say goodbye for tonight's coverage as well. First to iRacing. Once again, to visit iRacing.com. Sign up to become a member today. Also, Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Entertainment, the official setup shop of eNASCAR. For more information, go to MaconiSetupShop.com. On that note, it's time to close things out here tonight. After a night of the most intense competition available on the service, we wrap up tonight. Coming the action tonight was myself, Justin Prince, alongside Brain Blaster, Ron Mons in the booth, Christian Hill, DJ Line were our producers here this evening. Thanks to our viewers for watching tonight's racing action, and we hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for our next race. Thanks to the entire staff for bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you at The Rock.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi's Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.